Alright, so last night we went on a big losing streak. Me and my buddies, basically it was guy I know, Chugger and Cray, or Krax, or I don't know. He's never really told me how to pronounce it. Um, and so what I figured is we kind of go back and take a look at why we had such a hard time. Now, you can of course see my ranking right now on this account. I have another account where I solo queue, which is a little bit higher on average, 2900, and I generally play well. I can get myself to about 3.1, 3.2k playing healer, and I have a little bit of trouble getting above that. So credentials for basically for what we're doing here. So I will pick on a certain person because I know my buddy would actually appreciate it more if we took a look at from his perspective, because he's generally the lower one on our team. So we'll take a look at Hanamura at first, because we had a really rough time on Hanamura. We had a really rough time on all these maps down here, and fucking dominated on Oasis. It was beautiful. So much fun playing Tracer. But we'll take a look at it here first, and break down what we think went wrong. Now, if we flip over to let's Cray here. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at each individual fight and kind of figure out where the team broke down, because we know we have a generally a strong core. Like, I'm a pretty good DPS. Cray here is a pretty good healer. Jugger is a damn good tank. We don't know who the other three are, but let's just play around that and take a look and see what we can figure out. Now, as a trio, we're really trying to figure out how we have the strongest core between just us three. Our teammates can work around us, and we can kind of have somebody leading, but we want to make sure that, well, we want to make sure that our three are working together kind of in harmony. Now, 1 second here. Pull this back. And we'll pull back to objective A. So, yes.
Everyone, move together.
Now, immediately, we can already see that the team is breaking up. As a Tracer, it's kind of okay for me to push forward. Now, we've seen that the symmetric turrets are up top. I've already used my recall. Now, really the goal here on all of our teammates is to go in and use as little abilities as possible, because we are down recall. One of the things Cray will obviously notice right away, from his perspective, I'm not used to the controls here yet, is that instead of, we'll bring this down to like slow-mo, which makes, mistakes and stuff seem a little bit more prominent. We've already used our abilities and push forward in front of the team. Now, if they have a Hanzo or if they have a Widowmaker, this Lucio is going to get absolutely trashed. And looking at what the enemy team has, which I think they have an Ashe. They got an Ashe and a Baptiste up above. So, 1 second here. Okay, anyways, yeah, we can see right away that sticking the Lucio out front, and really sticking the Tracer out front here too, caused us to lose momentum on this specific fight. Now we can see that the enemy team is throwing their abilities in. Let's go back to the Lucio here. I hate how the transitions are even slow.
Now that's more like it. To the beat.
So let's speed this up a little bit. Alright, now already as a support player, I did notice that the support here was actually rather weak, and it may be also from the Ana. It may be it is a little bit of both, but we can actually see if we pull back. This is where the fights get really finicky, especially at the elo we're at right now. I think we're at like 2,700 average, 2,800. So if we pull back a little bit, we can see that instead of this Lucio letting oh my god, how does controls work there? Instead of this Lucio using the team to push them in and making sure that the abilities are up, we have kind of a pre-aggression, and as soon as our team is now in a transition phase, you can see the tank here, Chugger, starting to push through the choke. We're not using our speed boost or our amped heal to increase the amount of pressure on the enemy team. We're of course, like, this is kind of, well, 1 second here. Do I have somebody else in chat? Hello?
No, I'm in your Discord.
Oh, yo, what up, Flash? Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm gonna, yeah.
I'll meet by my door.
Sorry about that, guys. You can see Lucio here is really exposing himself. Instead of using the tanks as cover, instead of using the tanks to kind of slam into the enemy team, they're a little bit pre-aggressing on this. Second, let's try and find... Oh my god, these controls. And it makes it so difficult. Okay, so now it's going to put me in the wall. And I have to press space, and there we go. Right, and we still have Amp It Up, I think. Yeah, we still have Amp It Up ready. I think I put some half speed. And our tanks have already tried to engage, so the entire team now has to fall back.
I am loving this.
Another thing we'll notice right away, and this is just from the perspective as a Lucio player, we have this Ashe basically on our high ground now, trying to, well, of course, trying to get a shot on the rest of us. So one of the big things that the Lucio should be doing here is actually attempting to engage on that, well, engage on the Ashe on the high ground there. This is more of a solo queue thing. It would be a little bit like if we were as a six act, we'd be able to push through as a ball and then engage from the other side and basically walk past the Ashe. But because that's not, so we need somebody to actually put pressure upon the Ashe up here. Now, what I could have done too, you can see the Tracer. One of the biggest things I was trying to do was put enough frontal pressure with the team because of the new Tracer buffs to be able to break through. Now, the biggest problem here for me is the brig, which is why I probably should have gone up around this way. And then I would have been able to put pressure on the Ashe, but at this point, the only person who can do anything about that really is the Lucio. And the Lucio could probably be tucked in quite a bit tighter into the wall, where they wouldn't see the Ashe until they got all the way up to the top. I'm actually going to keep it up from the third-person perspective. This is super dangerous. You can notice that the McCree here has actually decided to engage the Ashe. She knows that she's there. Our Ana has decided to tuck backwards. You can see she's moving back. We're all moving back. But then, of course, Lucio has decided to expose himself out in the front. Let's keep paying through. Everyone gets pulled back in.
Routing navigation systems to deploy.
And then, yeah, we're down.
My barrier's down.
Now, look at this. Like, what is our McCree doing here there, too? He definitely has to be careful. So right now our team's kind of balling up and attempting to get a pick. This is kind of dangerous because, well, the enemy team can just push forward. Maybe there being 6 of them, and there being 5 of us. We're basically waiting around until we get our Lucio back, which is all at half speed. I think I can speed this up a little bit.
Check this out.
I don't even remember what buttons there were.
Establishing fortification.
So this is going to be one of those things where it's very difficult to figure out what's going on without looking at cooldowns. Both teams are charging ultimates at the moment, so whoever really gets their ultimates off first is going to win this fight. Not going to worry about exactly who has them or what's going to go on here, but one thing to keep in mind is that through this choke we need the most support possible, and now this is not the most support possible. And one of the big things we can look at too is the cooldown. So if we jump over to one support here first, we have Amp It Up on cooldown here, and then I bet you if you swap over to Diana, like Diana has all of her cooldowns ready, standing out in front of the choke. So we have no ability to push through. When the point in our team can put enough pressure on them, like this is where the Tracer has gone in behind and kind of done her job, because this is going to pull the enemy team back. And you'll watch though, even though I'm not even worried about what the enemy team has in terms of abilities, I can tell you right now that just looking at the way that our healers are standing, we're going to lose this fight. Ana gets a massive nade off, but you can see, well, I got decked really hard by the Ashe. I can't remember from where. Yeah. But in that exact moment, the team pulls back. So the aggro that this Ashe would have had to deal with as the team pushed in, with all their abilities together. So you could imagine if we had the Amp It Up ready, well, that was a very risky nade. Even if Diana still hit that nade or used something else with her nade, like the double heal, then, well, we probably would have made it through this choke. But instead, the entire team is forced to pull back.
My barrier's down. Here it comes.
Oh, yeah.
We do end up getting a kill because the Orisa fucks up and steps a little bit too far forward there. But yeah, ultimate goes down. So this is actually one of the things that our teammate was saying, is that, you know, somebody has to get that Baptiste. Well, you can see that in a few seconds when I do get the Baptiste, oh yeah, it's these buttons. That we end up pushing it. But this is because their supports are doing an excellent job right now, and our supports are a little bit on the weak side. So we get Amp It Up for the
I could use some help.
for the burning. That's excellent. The whole team has to pull back, slowly falls back. This is where we might want to beat drop. I would imagine. So because we've used all of our abilities and all of our options, we're not going to have the pressure needed to push through. We're going to need to be able to have full support. But we also go over to the Ana, it's like, where's the nano? Okay, like this is where we need a nano on something, on anything. And what does she do? She's got a nade on cooldown. Takes a sleep dart from the front. Takes a nade to the face.
Oh, let's break it. Damn.
Doesn't feel literally anything there.
You're going to be okay.
A pattern develops.
Literally healed 0. So we had no Amp It Up and we had no Ana. But looking at from our trio, it would be nice if we had. We have control over the Lucio, so this is kind of what we were doing. If we take a look, let's take a look actually from the Tracer's perspective. So this is we're spending a lot of time on the first few fights here. but I think this is actually very important to kind of break down to see what everyone was doing wrong. So if we jump over to my view,
I could use some healing.
all right. So this is stupid.
For your safety, please move behind the back.
I don't. That was like really stupid. And I had to blink out. There we go.
Deja vu.
So something that I'm trying to do is put enough pressure on the front line, essentially to push everybody back. But see, this is where I'm like looking around, going, "Where's my healers?" Going for the health pack. Let's put it at regular speed because this makes me look like more terrible than I am. Okay, this is really scary too because I only have 2 blinks and I don't have recall. What I'm doing is I'm waiting for recall to get up so I can actually make a dive in there. This is a bad angle, but I'm being forced to take it mostly because I didn't take the time when there was no fighting to relocate up to a high ground spot where I can get through. Now, I'll try and make a double blink in or triple blink in to save it. Take out some of those turrets on the way up. Get the break down below. So there's the Baptiste. So this is where I should have tried to dive on someone to engage. I knew the Baptiste was there. I don't know why I pulled back. I think like this is where I was kind of not paying attention to my team because everyone was taking so long to fully engage on these pushes. But this is where like I should have gone after the Ashe. I think I end up kind of doing it. The Ashe, probably the Symmetra would have made it a lot better because the Symmetra is the immediate threat to the team. I put some damage on her, and then the Ashe takes me up.
Back to work.
Go back in. Again, I don't relocate to the new position. I poke in the front line. Try and bait the hook out. Bait the hook out. I'm just doing damage, trying to build ult.
Team up for special attack.
I get stuck in with the team because I'm playing with the front line and I shouldn't because I'm 150 health.
Pattern develops.
I should be off to the side somewhere and doing a deep dive with the ultimate, which I don't have yet.
Wait for me. My ultimate is almost ready.
So we're gonna wait, go for assassination. I rethink my strategy because I know what's going on. I push in. People die instantly right away, so I don't even worry about it. Destroy the teleporter. I should be able to kill the Symmetra quicker. There's a hog there. Yeah, if I killed the Symmetra, I think he would have been fine. But yeah, like that entire push, and then I think we end up getting it. No, we end up getting in the next one here. So the biggest thing that's losing us the fights right now in terms of the Tracer is the ability to get kills. Oh yeah, shit. I want to take a look at that. Is that 7? Yeah.
Now, where were we?
So yeah, here's where I get to the high ground, wait for the McCree to come out, see the Baptiste. I'll go heal up.
30 seconds.
The dude says, "Someone kill the Baptiste." All right, let's do that. Seems like a good idea. Blink in. I gotta position my crosshairs better. One clip him.
Wicked.
Why I did I should have tucked in tighter. Ooh, recall. Play some risky dodges, sucks and dodges with the Ashe.
Team up for special attack.
Pull the team back. That's basically broke it up. Whatever. And then we end up pushing it. Super rough.
I'm on fire.
Exceeding expected combat values.
I'm back
recording performance for future analysis.
Alright, I think that's enough for, like, probably an hour-long recording
Defense point.
of a Overwatch analysis of the first few fights. Yeah, hope you learned something.